YouTube. We are Emily and Owen from Among Wolves. Welcome to our channel in our first video. Yes, our topic of discussion today is the movie Onward, which you can watch on Disney Plus. This is not sponsored at all. It's just for all of you quarantined individuals like us. It's something to do.
So just a rundown. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen most of the movie. It starts out in this fantasy land. There's no humans, but there's elves, which the main characters are like dark elves. There's centaurs, pixies, just all these cyclopses, all these fantastical characters. Mm-hmm. And it starts out with, before there was like every day was a D&D quest, you know. You're fighting dragons and you're going and finding treasures and there's magic abounding, but technology is easier to wield than magic, and you can just turn a light switch on and off and use that. And so then it cuts to the present day, and their society is pretty much like our society. It's just they're all fantastical creatures instead of humans. So it's like modern day, kids with cell phones. Everybody's got a car they're driving around in, and yeah.
And kind of like the main premise of the movie is there's two brothers. The younger brother, who's Tom Holland?
Tom Holland
is the voice actor, and then the older brother, Chris Pratt, is the voice actor. So it's Barley's the older brother. I don't even remember the younger brother's name. Ian. Yeah. So basically, their dad died when they were really little. Ian never got to meet him. And on Ian's 16th birthday, their dad leaves them a wizard staff that they can use to conjure up like a spell to bring him back to life. And they have to go on a quest, and they learn a lot of lessons on the way. Some of the lessons are actually pretty good. But yeah, that's kind of the main premise of the movie.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing that I had, was it felt really formulaic, the whole movie. Like, it feels like a Disney movie. A Disney, like, we got to go do this and come back. The movie felt really rushed. Mm-hmm. And actually, some of the good parts they had in the movie was the family dynamic. The mother was she was a hardworking single mother. She was really good. And then the two brothers, they had a really good relationship. They didn't hate each other. Mm-hmm. What was a little weird was the centaur cop was
yeah, he was like a boyfriend.
He was like a stepdad boyfriend, which one of those things that's kind of sneaking in is it's okay to live with your boyfriend and girlfriend. You don't need to get married, and
yeah,
there's just kind of stuff like that in there now, and
yeah,
it made for a weird thing. But I kind of wish that they would have went in deeper with that, because that's always a big thing, is trying to get used to a step parent.
And they didn't really develop his character at all. They had so many moments where I was thinking that this guy would redeem himself or show a really cool part of his relationship with the kids, but it never really truly got there, and that's kind of disappointing because they could have done so much more.
Yeah, I felt like he could have had there could have been a lot of extra just relational stuff that I think would have fit. But they were so busy going to point, making a really fast road trip movie, that they forgot about some of the relationships.
Yeah. And it is a kids movie, so we totally understand.
Yeah, we understand. They're trying to keep the kiddos
entertained.
Watching.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like they could have been it was really thin,
Finding Nemo could do it, guys.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. They could have. Exactly. I mean, they could have made it entertaining and a little put a little more meat. It felt like there was a lot of fluff and a lot of things that you could see coming, and not a lot of in-depth characters. Mm-hmm. The brothers, the younger brother was kind of he was shy, but the older brother was really outgoing, and he was super nerdy and kind of a loser. But I felt like the younger brother, if he had that kind of older brother, would have been just like the older brother. Because if you're a younger brother and you have an older brother who loves you and is going to drive to pick you up, and it's hey, it's your birthday, we're gonna go out and party, because that's what we do,
especially because today's kids aren't gonna resonate as much, because being nerdy is cool, Stranger Things, the hipster culture. So the brother is actually pretty cool, and I feel like most kids would be like, "Who would want to be like him?"
Yeah, like the younger brother was actively embarrassed, and like he thought the older brother was a screw up. I'm like, yeah, if I was the younger brother, I don't think I'd think my older brother was a screw up. I'd probably idolize him more than anything. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, if you're a little sibling, I think you can kind of see that. And that was kind of one of the things that took away from the plot of this movie was just that he couldn't see the older brother as his father figure until the very end of the movie, and that was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the big reveal was like, oh, I'm a like my older brother was like a spiritual dad to me this entire my
Mm-hmm.
entire childhood, like, and I'm just seeing that. And that was kind of the point of the movie was that even though you might not have a real dad, you can have spiritual fathers, which was a really good part. Like that was the best part of the movie, I
Mm-hmm.
think, as far as like morals wise. Um, and it had like it made you feel good, and you're like, oh, like he's seeing how good the brother is, but
Mm-hmm.
that was almost such a small point of the movie, like just how it went fast, just like all the rest of the movie, that it kind of felt like once you were done watching it, you're like it kind of it felt almost like a waste of time.
Yeah.
But so I mean, that said, I don't know if I would want my kids watching this just because they're not getting a whole lot out of it.
And coming from like we're Christians, and if
Yeah.
you're strong in your Christian beliefs, the Bible warns against like getting into magic, sorcery, witchcraft, that kind of a thing, because it goes against God. You're kind of controlling your own destiny, your own fate. And there's like a lot of spiritual darkness surrounding that. And this movie obviously had all fairy tale Disney movies kind of had the elements of it. Some are just way more pervasive than others. And I think that was kind of my thing. I'm like, I like mermaids, I like Disney princesses, it's cool. I know the
Yeah.
difference. But I feel like there's just a lot of like promoting of sorcery, and I'm not the kind of lady that's like burn all the Harry Potter books, like that. But I feel like you do have to be careful because what it is going in their minds. And I know you had a really good quote from, I think it was C.S. Lewis.
Oh yeah, C.S. Lewis. His quote about actually children, and he said, "I doubt whether we are sufficiently attentive to the importance of elementary texts,"
Mm-hmm.
and that was him saying he's like, we don't watch closely what children are actually getting from these things, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that can be true about this movie.
I think those are the main topics. I think another good theme was like overcoming fear and gaining confidence, which, I mean, there are a lot of different ways, to do it, to have confidence in yourself. We believe that like having God confidence is the best kind of confidence because it's the only lasting confidence you can have.
And that's another thing that I have a problem with these movies that go so fast. Is like the whole movie was in like 24 hours. Like they had 24 hours to get their dad fully
Mm-hmm.
back and to say goodbye to him pretty much. And like the kid goes from being like kind of like the complete loser, he can't speak up for himself, he can't do any magic or whatever,
Yeah.
to be by the end of the movie he's like, kind of the cool kid, and he's like a professional, like he can cast the hardest spells, and he's like, you can do all this in just one day.
When in reality, anything you work on or grow
This is our
better at.
cat
Oh,
Potato.
this is our cat's butt. Say hi. Oh, hi, Potato. She's Potato Salad, our kitten.
She likes to get into trouble, so
You'll be seeing her a lot in our videos. But
you'll probably be hearing her a lot with that bell. I'm gonna have to take that off.
yeah, if you hear the collar, it's so we know where she is because she likes to get into trouble. Like, good things take time, and if you're like working on something or if you struggle with
Yes.
something, you usually can't master it in 24 hours or overcome a struggle in 24 hours. Sometimes you can, but a lot of times it takes months or even years.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest problems I have with these movies is like they're telling kids that you can go from like zero to
Mm,
hero just like that, and it
yeah,
doesn't take a whole lot of effort. Granted, he was put in some life or death situations, and like he a lot of times he did fail. He failed like once, but
yeah,
then the next time he did it, he succeeded, and then he could just do it like that every other time, and that's
yeah.
kind of something hard for me to like. I don't like when kids see that, because it can give them like the,
Yeah.
oh, I can do whatever, and instantly I'm going to be able to do it.
If you want to see a good movie about like perseverance and building confidence, Meet the Robinsons is another really good Disney movie.
Yeah, that's a good Disney movie where it talks to you like, you're going to fail a lot, like, and even, you know, like you're a kid and everything you've done has been a failure. Like, if you keep going, this can be your future.
He didn't even know until like he saw his future as an adult and when he was a dad that all that he could do. So it's just a really, really cool movie.
Yeah. And I like where it shows, you know, where it shows people putting in continuous effort. Mm-hmm. Because if you want to succeed at anything, you have to put that continuous effort. It can't just be one day I decided to get up and do a workout, and then 3 years from now I'm going to have a six-pack because I did one workout for 10 minutes one day.
Yeah.
Like, you have to do it day in and day out, you know?
Yep.
Like, so that was kind of and just the whole part of that being like, technology is just easier to learn than magic, and it's easier to do than magic. I'm like, if one kid can do this in a single day, then like, you don't have technology, because necessity breeds innovation. If you have just this technology and you're like, why on earth do they have cars and smartphones and even light bulbs if one kid in one day can just flick, like, and there's just giant explosions and fireworks, and you can do all this stuff without any consumables for free. Like, why is there all this stuff? So just from a story perspective, that was one of the things that kind of just annoyed me. And going back to other things that, from a story perspective, that we noticed was there was a lot of law breaking in this movie without any consequences.
Even the parents, like the mom, like was...
Yeah, the mom kind of...
stole from a pawn shop, basically.
Yeah, that, where the manticore literally paralyzes, like...
That's a mythical creature, by the way.
she paralyzes this lizard lady because the lizard lady is kind of like... being greedy. But that's kind of telling kids, like, well, this person deserves to be stolen from, so stealing is good in certain situations. Like, oh, she only wanted $10 for it, but now because she knows the actual worth of this sword, she wants to sell it for more than $10. So,
and two wrongs don't make a right. Obviously, there are situations where if true evil is being done, you might have to break a rule to like do a moral thing. But that was kind of, I don't think, as much of what was happening in this movie. And yeah, there were no repercussions, which... Yeah, like that's not how the real world works.
I was like, the one manticore lady burns down her like establishment, and it has like kids and all these people in it. And it's like she's being questioned by cops, and the mom just shows up and like steals the manticore lady away, and I'm like, yep, because that's how life works, kids.
I mean, it's kind of funny. It provides comedy, and like I said, I really did enjoy the movie, but it's just
it was.
It's just kind of, if you think deeper into it, or if we had kids, we'd have to be forced to kind of think about this as we watch it with them, and be like, oh my god.
There's a lot of times too where the cops almost felt like the bad guys throughout, like like they were like actively lying and trying to deceive the cops, and then running away like most of this movie is them running away from the cops.
Which is kind of sad, because that stepdad was a police officer.
Yeah, the stepdad
and he
was a
could have
cop.
totally helped them and been like really cool.
And like, instead of like being like a decent guy, he was just like kind of like the lazy cop that eats the donuts, and like just your stereotypical like fat cop.
Yeah.
And the kid at the end of the movie, I mean, they unleash this curse and it like destroys the school, and like all these cops are like chasing him down, and it's just like so much destruction at the end of the movie because of like this dragon creature.
Yeah.
And like nothing happens. Like nobody goes to prison. Everybody's happy and fine, and
it's almost like it didn't happen.
It just, none of it happened. Like, it just like cuts to like a few months later, and like the kid's back in school, and they're like, oh, so you use magic to fix the school, which once again, why have construction companies if one kid with a staff can fix an entire school? But
there's some plot holes there, but I think overall, yeah, there's definitely some things to think about with the movie, and I think it makes for great discussion, obviously. And
I mean, it's fun to talk about. Yeah. Like, you know, it's because it's just a silly summer cartoon flick. Yeah. But it's still like just looking at like what is this trying to tell you?
Yeah, to have these discussions, we hope that you got a lot out of this. We want to know your thoughts too, so feel free to comment your thoughts about the movie if you've seen it, because that would just be really cool to get a discussion going. Yeah.
Yeah. And this has been our review of Onward.
Yeah. Have a blessed week.
I don't want to be negative. It wasn't a bad movie. It was just
There were mermaids in it. I like that.
For about 3 seconds.
I'm a mermaid.
Yeah.
If mermaids like to sit on a couch and eat chips all day.
Best part of this movie by far, the van. And if there was a scene that brought a tear to my eye, it was when Guinevere died. Because Guinevere is my hopes and dreams for the future.
Rest in peace.
I want to live out of Guinevere, and I'm going to take Emily with me. You cannot say that magic died if you can make a Cheeto the size of a boat. Okay?
Oh, they did that.
I would make a Cheeto the size of a boat. Good milk, Rachel.
Well, it's a nice sunny day, so we should probably try to get outside while we still can.
Yeah. I have some LARPing to do in a couple minutes. So.
What?
Yeah.
What's a LARP?